The blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Hail to the king, baby.
Boy! The plan is, kill the brain, and you kill the ghoul.
Welcome to hell.
I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
Welcome to prime time.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to App Podcast in the Backseat with your host, Wayne Alexander, and...
the cheeky Matthew Hutton. Hello.
It's very...
Probably
his mouth ever so slightly very coy.
Yeah.
It's very cheeky. Almost like a Japanese game show.
Put your pants
very
on.
cheeky.
Shit it.
Shit.
Shit it. Anyway.
So how are we today, Mr. Hutton? Are you alright?
Yeah, alright. Full of beans, as it were.
I've had so much coffee.
Yeah,
and so very little sleep, so this could be a weird one.
We're going to crash halfway through. It's just going to be like, yeah, I love this movie, which we'll get onto in a moment, and then halfway through it'll be like, it was shite.
And not to get political with it, but if you not heard the recording of Michael Jackson, like prior to his I was gonna say untimely death, but probably timely death. He's like Michael Jackson, because he apparently had a really deep voice. It still wasn't as high pitched as what's his character's name in South Park?
Oh, Mr. Jefferson.
Mr. Jefferson.
Yeah.
Mr. Jefferson. Shut up.
Ignorant.
Jump on.
Just to be dead. Oh.
That's ignorant. But it's like apparently he was really quite deep voice because he's off his tits on drugs. He's like
tree.
But it's like what's it goes
Sorry.
Oh, Michael Jackson's Children's Hospital, the greatest apparently that's what his voice was like.
I'd like to think
That's
it was deeper. It was like, hey everybody, I'm Michael
Everybody,
Jackson.
my name is
Is that what he sings?
Michael Jackson's Children's Hospital, the greatest hospital in the world.
He sounds like Buffalo Bill.
It does.
It puts the long shenanigans skin. Jittity dip. Oh.
Oh no, I don't know why it is. It just makes me fuck. It makes me think of is it Mickey Mouse in the Purity Ring episode with the Jonah Brothers?
That's class.
It's fuck. Goddamn Purity Ring.
That's class. You little fuckers. Oh god, I got it.
So
You give me back my
Jackson,
dog. Oh. Cause this is thriller. Anyway.
Oh, I don't know why it makes me think of it again. So, Black Dynamite, they did an animated series of it where it's the orphanage. So it's a mixture of the whorehouse and the orphanage.
Oh.
Anyway, so they did a Black Dynamite animated TV show. They even do one called Black Jaws, where basically Black Dynamite fights a black shark called Black Jaws. But there's one where he goes up against Michael Jackson, but it turns out like he's an alien. And it's like his wig sort of comes back and he like fights him in like his Neverland Ranch.
Oh god.
But there's a bit in it where it's what song is it? Have it out in Makusei, and it's a chant that he does in order to summon more aliens, because it turns out he says this like alien demon thing. It's fucking brilliant. It's so good. Basically, Black Dynamite's beating the shit out of Michael Jackson.
Nice.
Speaking of Michael Jackson and Mickey Mouse, horror.
Yeah, true horror. Speaking of, like, one last segue, because for some reason I like the combine things. For some reason, I always think it's funny to do that. I don't know why. And I was watching. Have you ever seen Good Omens?
Bits and pieces of it, yeah.
So you know, there's a sort of demon character and an angel character. Aziraphale's the angel, and he's really kind of sweet. I forget who plays him. He's a good actor.
Is it Michael Sheen?
I think it is, yeah. Actually,
Michael Sheen and David Tennant.
Yeah, Michael Sheen and David Tennant. That's nice. So Michael Sheen, I always thought, because you've not seen the show, but they're clearly in love. Do you know what I mean? David Tennant's character and Michael Sheen's character are clearly an item in a demonic and in angelic way. What I always thought was if he ever got to meet Dr. Hannibal Lecter from the Hannibal TV series, he would leave him because he's all about really good manners and things. So Aziraphale would know he was sat there eating eating human meat, but because he's so damn polite, thank you very much, Hannibal. Serving me my own leg, I'll just make another one for myself. But that really offended a fandom on a certain website when I made that joke. I got a little bit of hate.
And as Stephen Fry, as Stephen Fry says, just because you're offended doesn't mean that you're right. And what I would say to anybody that is listening, and I hope you are listening intently, ASMR videos. ASMR, I'm going to eat a bag of crisps now, some quavers. Bag of quavers, boy. Anyway, but you know what? Anybody sort of offended, our intent is not to offend.
Yeah.
But if you are, brilliant.
Well, at least you're thinking about it, I suppose. Drop us a message.
Or if you're offended, you could just, turn it off.
There's that, yeah. And again, we're not going out of our way to offend. We're not going to be like silly or anything.
And anything we do talk about is obviously meant to be in an entirely mischievous. Yeah. We're just having fun.
Cannibalism's hilarious. I don't understand how anyone got upset by that.
We've got all these beautiful fruits and vegetables. See that fella over there working in administration? Bet he's got some tight calves on him.
He's got some
tight. Oh,
beautiful.
I just wanna just like a bit of jerky, but instead of jerky, it's it's maybe like an Achilles tendon.
Oh, that's the one thing.
Anything. You only get one.
Yeah,
well, you get two, but you only get one.
You only get one each. But no, there's a scene in It's Pet Cemetery where he twangs it. I cannot watch that.
It's Eddie Munster, or is it? No, it's the dad.
No, it's Herman Munster. Yeah,
Herman Munster.
Go up that road. You don't want to cut my Achilles tendon.
See a dead child that got hit by a truck. You don't want to take it to this frozen ground. Oh, you got to cut through all these. That's a fucked up movie. You think about it. God, Herman Munster, creepy as fuck. They go, yeah. You want to see the way that's that weird green eye? Let's take your dead child up into them hills through this labyrinth of trees and shit and wreckage. Yeah, we're gonna bury a child in this solid ground, which is gonna take you forever.
Like, completely fucked up. Like he was just an odd sort of pervert that he didn't expect it to happen. It just did. He's like, oh yeah, bring your child. Yeah, bro, I want to see you dig a quarter. Oh, I'm sure there's a line in it at one point where he's even like, I can't help you dig that. It's like, yeah, you lazy cunt. Of course you can.
It's because he's getting old. Leave the old fella. He's probably got a bad back.
He's Herman.
His back's still sore. His back's still bad from whenever he buried his cat there the last time.
And buried his family, the Munsters.
Oh yeah, Eddie Munster. I don't get that bit. I don't get that the whole idea of how that family works. All right, Frankenstein's monster fucks what is clearly, is she a vampire type thing?
Yeah.
What's like the most defined widow's peak you've ever seen. All right, is she a normal kid?
Oh no, that's their oh god no. Eddie Munster was a little werewolf, so that's their only child. The cousin, is the norm, which is the one they all take the piss out of.
Oh yeah, what's that? You don't have any powers, do you? Yeah, but I can go in sunlight and I can get a bank loan.
yeah, and they live with their grandpa, who's also Dracula. That at least makes sense because he's you know what? Vampire meets a undead creature which has been reanimated makes werewolf. Equals werewolf. I think.
Somebody's sitting going, you'll find, it's like, dear points of view.
Actually.
He's a lycanthrope. Fuck off.
And if you get offended by us telling you to go fuck yourself, go fuck yourself. So, anyway.
But nicely. But you know what? I don't get that expression. It could be nicely.
No, do it with a spinning cross made of dildos.
A four-headed devil dildo.
In the name of the Father. Come to podcast in the backseat.
But it's one of those ones where you've got to plug it in at the wall, as my dad would say, but like chipping your teeth.
How are you doing today? I'm all right.
I called no. So
Definitely not. I seem a bit tense there.
I'm on the vinegars. I'm so close.
The spice.
It's like that. Did you ever? I don't know why it's making me laugh so much. It's the hernia hotline or the hernia support group from Shooting Stars, where they're all meeting up and he's like holding onto your towel, biting it. Yeah, the hernia.
Shooting Stars still cracks me up.
It's fucking
come to Geordie Sofas, you shit.
Shit.
That's class. Oh, I love that.
Listen here, you shit. Geordie Jumpers think of everything. We got a pocket for a brood and one for tabs. So good luck.
It's the bit, and you won't be able to see me because this is audio based, but it's the bit where there's a cutaway where they're trying to sell caravans, and it's George Dawes with Vic Reeves, and he just keeps like. Oh, it sounds gross. I'm sorry, guys.
Fallen down with Mr. Michael Douglas. Says, what if I scrunch up your bread? I'll get shape back. What about your topic? Oh, not my topic. I never get shape back. You prick.
Oh, when they do the Incredible Hulk parody, and his face just turns into a green circle. He's like, "Oh, look what you've done! It's going to take us hours to get this off." Watch David Banner. He gets a bit angry.
Good luck, Mr. David Banner.
Oh, man.
So, speaking of the horrors of David Banner, Bruce Banner, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, today is it's a review episode. It was one of your own choices. It's a Cronenberg movie. Twas indeed. I actually don't know when this came out.
And the year was 1979, circa. I don't know what's going to go there, but 1979. But yeah, 1979. 1979.
So,
but yes.
Yeah, so 1979. For this as well, actually, I'm surprised it's 79 because it's the most 70s movie I've ever seen. I expected it to be like right in the middle, but The Brood. It is The Brood. It's not Brood, isn't it? I might be wrong on that.
It's the Brood. Yes.
Brood. The Pube. The Brood.
Brood.
There's way worse things in this than pubes, which we'll get into. But I don't want to get the ball rolling on just because I know you like to go through some initial
facts.
thoughts and maybe plot as well.
Yeah, of course. So, David Cronenberg, 1979, writer and director. It's available, if anybody is listening, it's available on Amazon Prime, if anybody wishes to watch it. Canadian horror film, primarily because he's a Canadian director. I'll give you a brief synopsis. So, a man tries to uncover an unconventional psychologist's therapy techniques on his institutionalized wife amidst a series of brutal murders. That's like under-promising, over-delivering as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it sounds like it might be some sort of like, I don't know, some sort of just straight-up drama. Right. A man tries to uncover some unusual techniques being practiced by the late and great Oliver Reed.
The pickled Oliver Reed. The well-preserved.
It's him, Richard Harris, and Peter O'Toole, like the three massive pissheads of the day. And there's this amazing story, not to go off on a segue, where Peter O'Toole goes on a massive bender with one of his mates in London. I think he's playing like the Globe Theatre in London, and goes off on the drink with his mates during the day, and he has some reserved seats, as he does, as a lot of actors do in the theatre. And he says to his friend, "Oh, this bit's brilliant," because he stumbles and pisses his mate into the theatre to see the play, and he goes, "Oh, this bit's brilliant. This is where I come in," and he goes, "Fuck, I'm supposed to be on stage."
Shit.
And then the understudy emerges, and he goes, "Oh, fuck. I've messed up here." And so he's just a massive piss. And you know what? Do you not think it's really strange that Peter O'Toole is in Supergirl?
Is he?
He is, yeah. He's in Supergirl. So you got Superman, Christopher Reeve, directed by Richard Donner for part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
And then fucking Peter O'Toole. They thought, all right, we've got Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
This, this sort of acting great. Who should get for Supergirl? Peter O'Toole.
Because I know they've got Peter Cook's the villain as well, isn't he?
Yeah. He's brilliant.
So who's Peter O'Toole in that? I'm trying to remember. It's been years.
He's the one that, he's the one that kind of mentors Supergirl's character. Because the whole idea with Superman is that he goes off as a baby as Krypton
Is that
explodes.
Peter O'Toole? Shit.
Yeah, he's the one
that
he like draws some shit with this weird fucking weapon slash 3D printer that he has.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's sitting drawing all this shit, and he draws. She draws like a fucking weird space moth slash dragonfly, and it comes to life and then just fucking kills everybody.
Do you know what it is? Like, Supergirl on paper should have been huge because it's a good film. I actually like it, and Helen Slater's who I actually got to meet personally as well. I think I told the story of how I met Helen Slater on an earlier episode. I was completely drunk, and she was she was really nice about it. She seemed to really enjoy the fact. I think she saw who I was with, and if he's listening, sorry. So she sort of felt sorry for me. But yeah, there's a wonderful picture of me with my arm around her and her arm around me, and another one where she's kissing me, and so I hope I look anywhere near that good at her age, to be honest with you. But anyway, Peter Cook, fucking Peter O'Toole. That should be such a really good film, but I don't know why it's just in the background.
I don't know. It's got who's the guy in it? I think it's the same guy. I think the guy who's like the pisshead in it is.
Oh yeah,
is it not? He's the cokehead guy, like the business guy in Die Hard.
That's fucking is it? Peck?
Where the fuck is it?
Not Peck,
no, it's not
Ghostbusters.
It's fucking what's his name?
You
know, it could be. It is. His name's Hart Bochner, Canadian actor. He plays Ellis. It's like Hans,
Bobby. I was going to say that's him. The best.
But he looks completely dead. Yeah.
I do that now whenever I'm like gaming in a party or something. Whenever somebody like kills me, I'll be like, whoever I'm with, I'm like John, Bobby.
But yeah, Hart Bochner, he's like there's two notable movies. He plays Ethan in Supergirl, and he plays Ellis. It's like 4 years in between the two, but he looks completely different in both movies. But,
I'm surprised.
But yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, so getting back to what we're talking about, Oliver Reed, Richard Harris, Peter O'Toole, massive pissheads.
Yeah.
And if anybody is listening, please look up Oliver Reed on Michael Parkinson's chat show. He is fucking beyond pickled. He is.
It's weird to watch because you're looking at it and you sort of you sort of feel uncomfortable, but at the same time can't turn away.
It's one of those things where it's like his inability to give a shit. It's possibly why people were drawn to him. But obviously, one of his last movies he did was Gladiator, which came out in 1999. But he's phenomenal in that. He's very.
He's a good actor.
He's very alluring, but he did quite a bit of hammer horror as well.
Yeah.
So I initially was surprised when I was watching and going like Oliver Reed in horror, and then I was just thinking, no, he's been in loads. I think he's in The Wolfman, as far as I remember.
Is he?
Yeah, he's in like one of the. I think it's.
He's in Oliver, isn't he, as well? That's not horror, but that's like one of his bigger roles.
Who does he play in? Who does he play in Oliver Twist?
I think he's the guy who sells the kids. So when that kid comes up, he's like,
Bill
"Can I have
Sykes.
some more?" Yeah, more. That's Oliver Reed.
Why if I just went into like porn parody of Oliver?
Of Oliver Reed.
It could be Oliver getting pure twisted, or like olive twisted. Sounds like some sort of alcoholic,
Oliver
very high class. Oliver Seed. But he did quite a lot of like horror movies as well. He was in, I think he's in one of the, what do you call it, the Musketeers movies. But yeah, he's been in absolutely loads of stuff. I'm just trying to think of like there's loads of he definitely did like a couple of like Hammer horror movies.
Yeah. Be cool if he was in the Wolfman though. Like.
I think he is.
But
he's the Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll.
Shit.
He did the Curse of the Werewolf. That's the one.
Nice.
Which is, from what I remember, I think it's a Hammer horror movie. Terence Fisher is the guy that directed it as well.
Nice.
An adopted boy becomes a werewolf and terrorizes the inhabitants of his own town. So I think it's very much in the spirit of the werewolf movies, but I think he's the Wolfman in it.
Yeah. See, that
which,
sort of synopsis breaks it down really well compared to the Brood one, where, as you say, is really.
Oh yeah, it gives you fucking nothing.
Where it's a bit like if you were to describe Nightmare on Elm Street as the man of your dreams comes every night.
I know.
What does he do?
He's...
God.
Whereas if somebody give you the full synopsis initially, I would be like, notorious kid killer gets off on a technicality. For local neighbours
to become the man of your dreams.
Take the law into their own hands, only to be haunted by him, to have their kids killed.
I like the Halloween one would be quite good. It was just William Shatner on October the 31st terrorizes Haddonfield.
Amazing. So The Brood, 1979. Yeah. Oliver Reed, Art Hindle, who went on to do a bunch of other horror movies, and there's a couple of other David Cronenberg alumni or alumnus turns up throughout the course of the movie. And basically, apparently, the story is based around David Cronenberg's own experiences with his ex-wife. Apparently, he went through some sort of horrific, tumultuous divorce, rather than one of those really amicable, lovely divorces that people go through.
We should divorce. Yes. Quite.
Agreed. Quite. One would like to divorce one.
Quick bang? No, I should think not. Anyway.
Annulment or divorce? I choose divorce.
Me too.
Agreed.
Farewell. Here's half my
shake of the hand. Shake of the hand.
So
I bid you adieu.
The very opening scene in this as well, I've just noticed looking at my notes there. The very opening scene is Oliver Reed talking to one of his patients and just like swearing at him, saying "you're fucking scum" and all that sort of thing. All I wrote on that was Oliver Reed's home movies ? So maybe, but yeah, no, you're right though. Like if you can see that in an odd way, this feels a bit like a Cronenberg, not passion project, but like I almost guessed like he had something in his life where this had occurred to a degree. So he's had some messy divorce, as you say there. Mm-hmm. And I imagine did he have children with that person or?
I'm not too sure. I didn't delve into it too much. All I knew is that he just based it in and around the tumultuous divorce he had, which apparently was really fucking harrowing.
Yeah.
And he decided to kind of like I imagine it would be quite cathartic to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, imagine if this movie gets admitted into the cinema. What's it called? There's a name for it where basically you get the movie added into like a library, where basically it's protected. So if anything ever happens, it gets protected for all time.
Yeah.
So like movies say, like imagine Lawrence of Arabia, gets admitted in there, or say. I'm trying to think of other ones where movies like that might get admitted in, like
Flesh
say
Gordon.
Schindler's List. Yeah, like Flesh Gordon. But yeah, there's other ones like that where they get admitted into like almost like the Hall of Fame. But imagine that and going, it's a big, to a certain extent, it's a big fuck
like
you
vault.
to your to your ex-partner. All right, yeah. So my cathartic film process, which I'm basically saying, I hate my ex-wife or my ex-spouse. This film's going to be protected for all time in some sort of locked vault. So no matter what happens.
It's a good point, that though, because actually throughout the entire movie, she is not painted in any shape or form positive. She is a broken person throughout the whole movie and unlikable as well.
But still a person nonetheless.
Yeah.
And we'll touch on that.
It feels almost personal, almost like her character.
It does.
Yeah. Now that you've mentioned it, it's like ooh.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit
spicy. shit.
We're gonna make her look like an absolute chum.
Flange. Don't know what one is, but I like the word.
I know. Few times, it's one of the few times Oliver Reed plays the good guy.
Yeah.
Not to give too much away,
Yeah.
but he's one of the few times he plays a good guy because he's such a good villain.
Yeah.
He draws you in. He's just very sort of like.
He's got that face though, hasn't he? He's like Jack Nicholson.
It does.
Yeah.
It's that voice as well.
Yeah.
And imagine if they tried to get him to do an American accent, which I can't imagine going down particularly well. He's got that very, like, even though he's in Gladiator, which is clearly set in like parts of the Middle East, in Italy and Spain, and all of a sudden just comes out with this perfect
Tally ho!
RSP fucking diction of beautiful, loquacious fucking whatever.
Loquacious. Word of the day. I like it.
it's I love a bit of vocabulary and enunciation. But yeah, I thought that was quite one of them thesauruses, the lesser known of the dinosaurs.
Do you know, a lot of the time I'll use long words to sound clever, when really I'm just photosynthesis.
Yeah.
But no, when you were on about Oliver Reed being a hero, I actually made a note early on because he wears a turtleneck for a lot of it. Now, if you watch in movies, the baddies wear turtlenecks, so I was like, oh, Ollie, are you up to no good again? So I was actually pleasantly quite surprised with it. Or
he's going steady with some guy in a 1950s diner and he's got a couple of hickeys on his neck.
Hickeys. No, new word of the episode is hickeys.
Couple of love bites on his neck. Oh, yeah. Go on. Suck that neck. Suck
it. If that character in the movie is anything to go by, then not hickeys. What was that thing on his... the reveal on that scarf, which we'll get into as well. But
yeah,
that guy, by the way, as well. Also, I noticed, and this is sad of me to notice, gets a cameo in Jason X. I don't.
Yes, he does.
Don't look up his name. I just remember him from it. Thinking,
what's his name? His name is Robert A. Silverman.
Nice.
Plays Jan Hartog.
Yeah. And the main character in it is also one of the main characters in Black Christmas, which I have to say is probably one of my favourite horrors. So it was quite nice to see him in something else.
Is it Art Hindle?
The father character? Yeah.
Frank Carveth.
He plays a very different type of character in it, because in Black Christmas he's like a jock.
Right.
Where in this he's kind of a loving father, or who I imagine Cronenberg wishes he was. This white knight who's doing everything he can for his oddly sedate daughter. Like, she doesn't emote throughout the whole thing. She's just like, that's the thing. Someone died. Not again. Fuck it.
Granny has Granny's no longer with us, and then Granny got absolutely hammered last night, and then the granddad got hammered, and then he got hammered again.
Can I play with this train?
But yeah, so how would you simplify it and give a little bit more for the synopsis without giving too much away of the story?
To be honest with you, oddly, that synopsis that you gave, though, doesn't give anything away, is all you can give away without ruining it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Weirdly. Because that is true, that's the main thread of it, that they're clearly going through... Well, they're either divorced or going through a messy divorce, but they're mostly concerned about the daughter, who seems to be the focal point. She doesn't seem to have been chosen for her acting ability. I'm going to say that now. She just seems to have been chosen as a prop.
Or would you say that maybe they've intentionally picked that character because they're sort of so almost removed?
Oh, I guarantee it. Yeah, I absolutely. Especially with somebody like Cronenberg, I trust that everything in it is intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I was surprised at some of the body horror in it. Because again, Cronenberg. But that does. I think he actually ramps it up quite well, because you expect it early on, especially in a Cronenberg film.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of ramps it up. In terms of plot wise, again, that synopsis has it. I think the only thing I would add is that the mother, or the wife character, gets an almost supernatural ability to give birth to an army of bidding doers.
Yeah, it's proper fucking...
It's out there.
Like I didn't know what I was expecting. Like, I think I picked this one because I wanted to pick Cronenberg. And obviously he's got so many other ones that are so well done. You've got The Fly, you've got Dead Ringers, you've got Videodrome, which is even more fucked up now knowing what you know about James Woods. He's just a fucking mad bastard. And if he's listening,
fuck it.
I don't fuck him. I don't care. Don't get me wrong. That's not to take away from the fact as to the good work that he's done, but it just turns out he's a fucking absolute melter.
Yeah, yes. He should get that crucifix we mentioned earlier and enjoy himself.
I know he should.
Again, his body of work's fine. It's a bit like, and I won't go into it too much, but what's his Kevin Spacey body of work's fine. Melter.
You know what? I think it only adds to his body of work and the stuff that he's done already.
Yeah.
Knowing what we know now, does it make it better or worse? And I think to a certain extent in certain movies, it makes it better. But I love that spoiler for American Beauty, which has been out for like fucking 20 years. So if anybody gets offended with me ruining the ending of American Beauty and going, next door neighbor questions his neighbor's sexuality and shoots it and kills him to prove it.
Basically. But yeah, that's the thing with The Brood. There's probably going to be spoilers with these being review episodes. So
well,
if
know, but the film's like,
we'll let you
how
know.
many? The film's like 40. Is it 41 years old? Fuck yeah, because I'm born in 86.
Yeah.
This is 79. I'm 35. It's a 42-year-old movie.
For that, mind you, I'd never seen it, and I'd never had the end spoiled for me. So, and I'm glad for that. So again,
yeah, exactly.
Whenever we're about to spoil it, I will mention it and just skip ahead a little bit. But I didn't really look into anything background-wise, so it's quite nice to know. Yeah, it's nice to know that it was based on. Well, not nice for Cronenberg, but based on a meltdown of his marriage. I don't know. He's probably made money back off this. So.
But yeah, it's one of those ones where he does body horror, and I wanted to pick something different, something that neither of us had watched beforehand, so we both approach with fresh eyes, no preconceived notions as to what it's like, and you get pleasantly surprised with it being a body horror because it does it so well, and I think maybe less so than other ones, but this one's less overtly sexual.
Oh yeah,
because I think
definitely.
It definitely does have like a sexual thread that goes through all of his movies, and I watched like a short YouTube video before we had this chat this morning, and he talks about a particular sexual aesthetic that he applies to quite a lot of his movies. Even the ones that are less body horror and more kind of straight up sort of more drama horror of people rather than horror as in something paranormal or something happening, but it's so well done.
Quite a lot more grounded for the majority of it. Obviously the threads going on in the background, and it's more to do with the camera, which might lead with nicely into sight in a moment, but the way some of the characters are framed for the majority of the movie is how he hides the reveal, which I think is quite nice because you rarely see that. But I don't know if you wanted to move straight on because we'd like to touch on the senses for anybody that do that. The first thing I picked up on, and I always do obviously, is the beginning. And one thing that's almost quite rare in horror movies especially is that it's actually got opening credits. A lot of horrors will just have credits playing through the action as it's going on. This actually has a black screen with music and credits, which is very 70s to be honest with you, so it's not that rare for the time. But in terms of horror as a whole, just thought it may have been worth mentioning a little bit.
No, I get it. It did throw me a little bit because that was the kind of thing which just goes The Brood. Yeah,
and do you know what I find weird is because another one that does this on every one of its movies is Friday the 13th. Being an impatient millennial, as I'm not technically, but as I am, you fight the urge to just fast forward through them. It's like adverts nowadays that they barely exist unless you're watching like YouTube and you've got to get through them to get to your video and stuff.
Yeah.
When you do get to them, you're kind of so impatient now that you want the information as fast as possible. And I fought the urge entirely because the opening music on it is quite nice. Not to jump into sound just yet. I suppose we can dip in and out because the music, there's a lot of strings in it, which I think is quite nice. But I think the blackness, and the credits coming up kind of builds up your hype almost to like, not that get into it quickly, but the sort of fade into the action, and I say action because it's very muted. It's just two people having a close up very close-up conversation, calling each other daddy and swearing. So he just
You know
builds
what?
intrigue straight away. Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question about that. Sort of, obviously, the site, the initial bit. I think sort of the scope is revealed initially, and I think it's very misdirected. I don't know if you thought the same as well. So obviously, he gets the brood, and then it cuts to Oliver Reed and this bearded, unfortunate, gentleman who's suffering with some quite serious mental health problems.
Yeah.
Both wearing karate or judo or jiu-jitsu gi.
Yeah. I don't know why.
And I thought, oh, this must be some sort of... I thought initially it was being meta, where it was Oliver Reed is playing an actor doing this very intimate two-person play where they're both playing different characters.
Yeah.
And it's just a spotlight on these two people having a conversation where he keeps on calling him daddy and son and all this sort of stuff, and going, this is weird. And then the camera pans out. Well, it doesn't pan, it cuts to people watching it.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh, it is definitely a play. And then it cuts to the guy's a genius, and then you don't realise until afterwards it's like a therapy session that is carried out live on stage, which would be very... That could go sideways so many ways.
Oh yeah.
And then I kind of thought maybe it's a cult, and it kind of is to a certain extent.
Because they're all in the same outfit, if I'm not mistaken, in the audience as well. They're all...
Not all of them, because I think that the guy's watching Oliver Reed do this therapy with this guy, and what's quite good, I don't know if you noticed this in the site for the opening bit, the guy has like sores on him.
Yeah.
The sores then slowly reveal themselves over the course of the session,
and Reed even wipes them at one point on his head, like when he ends up touching them, and you see like it leaves a trail, so they were kind of juicy sauce. Yeah.
And is it what's quite misdirected as well is it in his head? So are we seeing what the person who's suffering with these mental health issues, or is this something that is real?
Yeah.
So you're going, fuck, is this real? Is this actually happening? Is this unfolding? And everybody's just watching this poor guy getting tortured by some sort of external force. And then you've got Oliver Reed just watching, going, more sores.
More
sores. Oh, give us more scabs, please. Oh, it should keep her.
It should keep her.
I'll keep the scabs.
The whole opening is perfect for building intrigue, because, as you say, I immediately thought, right, is this a play? Is this an elaborate two-man show? Okay, it's a lecture. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, is he psychic then? Is he giving the saws to this guy? Has he got some sort of... And he's got some sort of mental hold over him, but in a very human way. He's very good at what he does. He's apparently a genius at it.
Yeah.
The main thing I noticed with Sight was the colour scheme. And I don't know if you picked up on this. The use of yellows and reds all over the fucking place, which I don't know too much about psychology, are very linked though. Like quite a lot. If you watch Joker, there's a lot of yellow in it. There's a lot of purple, which is the main one. Green's obviously with the Joker, but red as well. And it's everywhere. Every character apart from the main character wears red or yellow at some point. The main character is the only one who wears a plaid shirt throughout the entire film, and I don't know if that's because he's the only one. He's the only sane one in a mad world or something. Or Oliver Reed also doesn't wear any. No, he does. He wears a red, as you say, gi, or whatever it is at the beginning. Yeah, it's so striking though. Like the yellow, especially, is like whoa, shit, very 70s.
Yeah, it is. It's got that kind of colour scheme, and I think I'm glad you mentioned it as well. Obviously, the colours are quite muted at the start, because I think it's not a red gi that he's wearing. It's almost like a beige, like sort of off-colour, khaki type colour, and they're both wearing it. And I think maybe that's intentional, because it's not a distraction for the viewer or for anybody who's having this. What's it called? Psychoplasmic, or something. It's like psychoplasmosis or something, or psycho. Oh, what the fuck?
Either psychoplasmic or psychotronic. I can't remember which.
Psychotronic just sounds like it's a type of drug that somebody might take, which we're not suggesting anybody does. But I think it's called psycho fucking killer. No, psychoplasmics. It turns out it's a made up. I think it's a made up thing.
Yeah. Which I'm glad they did, to be honest with you, because then it doesn't cheapen it. So when there's a risk with that sort of thing, and obviously Cronenberg didn't have that story to tell. It was his own story, which I'd now learned, which is awesome.
But the colour scheme was See, I always worry about this, and not in a bad way, but like, is it something that just happened to exist and that was a happy coincidence? Was it of the time, or probably more likely, was it intentional?
Yeah.
Were they using that color scheme, like the little kid wearing the red? It's a bit like Schindler's List to an extent, because the colors are quite muted. Because it's in Canada, it's clearly cold. Everybody's wearing sort of muted colors at the time, and you just get this striking image of this little kid wearing what is essentially like a sleeping bag with arms and legs and a little beanie hat, and it made me think of as a Don't Look Now.
Yeah, exactly the same with the red hood.
It's a whole idea of you hone in on this little girl, and even then her hair looks completely different to everybody else. She's the only one with like blonde hair,
light blonde, yellow, almost.
It's probably meant to like represent to a certain extent like innocence.
Yeah. One thing when you're saying that the reason for the color scheme and things, I would always give them, an auteur especially, the benefit of the doubt. I think Cronenberg 100% knew what he was doing with the color scheme. Anybody else, it might have been a happy coincidence, but somebody like him, he absolutely knew what he was doing with it.
Yeah, he's very much a consummate professional, and even if you don't like the movies that he done, you know that he does them very, very well.
Yeah. That's like the main thing. Another thing I picked up on were the use of crane shots. A lot of high angles, which is very linked again to if you want to unnerve somebody or make them feel intimidated, you put a high angle on them. So every character has a high angle, apart from the mutant small killers get quite a low angle. But it's obviously a very low angle.
That's meant to represent as to where they are and everything else. And I think it's quite clever, because I think I've used it a couple of times how they hide the shark quite well. They don't hold on to it as much as, say, Jaws does.
Yeah.
You don't see it till they're out in the open water, etc. You kind of see flashes and a few other bits and pieces or silhouettes of people being killed.
Like
but in this one, exactly. But this one, you just see the stuff being disturbed. Little product placements for Shreddies and honey and a few other bits and pieces that are decorated around the house. And then the grandmother, boom, stoved in, with a cabinet that apparently just holds milk in it.
Yeah,
what the fuck? Could you just go to the milk? Could you just go to the milk cabinet there, Carol Ann, and get the milk out? But yeah,
it's cheese.
It's frozen. It's just frozen. No,
it's frozen.
Why'd you bother? Just put it outside. It's probably fucking freezing. It's Canada. But there's other bits and pieces I picked up on. The little kid. I don't know if it came before or after Poltergeist. What year was Poltergeist?
I'm sure Poltergeist is 80s. I'm sure.
82.
Yeah.
So, I think this has used a great effect. It's the whole idea. It's like the little blonde-haired girl, the little innocent girl. Oh, she could do no wrong, blah blah blah, and then she gets possessed, or like she sees demons and shit. But this one as well, I thought that was quite good. Obviously, just draws you in. She's meant to represent innocence. What else is it as well? She's almost like Carol Ann. And the colour scheme as well that you mentioned, it reminds me a lot of like Scandi type programs where they've got those old style municipal buildings. There's a lot of like yellows and reds and bits and pieces like that, because it reminds me of like a secondary school building that I used to go to. Actually, like it was a really old building. It just reminds me of that kind of colour scheme that they would have had back then. Would have never been updated until like the 90s or possibly later.
Keeps you on edge, that sort of colour scheme.
It does. Well. It's really off-putting, and then you're forced to focus on the bright aspects of colour and obviously what's going on as well.
Did you notice the flashback was on a red filter as well?
No.
Flashback when he's looking at the little creature on the with no navel on the chopping board, as it were.
Oh, I didn't realise it was a flashback. I thought it was just get cut in two. It was like a weird reddy pinky colour.
Yeah, like a weird hue on it, which is an odd choice, but it, again, 100% intentional for the colour scheme he's chosen, which is why I'll give him definitely the benefit of the doubt. The last part on site I had was the, slightly spoilerific here, gross body horror aspect of things. His prop work is good.
Yeah,
it makes you like kind of cringe when you see it.
what was it? It's there's other bits of it, like they're really kind of like the ex partner of the main character. I think her name's I was gonna say Nala. It's Nola. Nola. I think it's Nola, but it would be called. Her name would be Nola in Ireland. She's got big fucking crazy eyes on her. She does that so well. It almost. Do you remember the PlayStation advert that came out in the 90s, where there's this little Scottish girl with the weird, almost dish-shaped eyes? That's what it reminds me of. She does it so well. I don't know if that's something they've done with makeup or just something that she's able to accomplish. You're just drawn in with like some sort of painting or something out of like the cabinet of Dr. Caligari. These big fucking crazy eyes. And apparently the director said that that character that plays the ex-wife shares very similar characteristics to David Cronenberg's ex-wife. So that's all it is. So it's a big middle finger flipping the bird to his ex-wife and going,
is that his way of saying seek help to his ex? Is it? Get help. Here's a film. Fuck off.
Yeah. Crazy. And some fucking awful wallpaper. I mean, like god awful. It's like the corn curtains from The Simpsons. That's what it reminds me of. Oh, why'd you want? Corn. Corn. Curtains. Cortons. Cortons. Pink room full of view of the monster, which is quite good because they do it sort of quite brightly lit. And do you not notice like I was going to say pediatrician, it's not pediatrician, the mortician is almost like salivating about this fucking sack-filled monster. Only lives long enough to serve a purpose and then drops dead.
Yeah, a bit like, is it Mr. Meeks or Masik or whatever it is from
Mr. Meeks,
Mr.
yeah.
Meeks. Look at me.
Mr. Meeksy, look at me.
I'm sure they make reference to him being a Cronenberg nightmare in that episode, and I didn't get it until now, to be honest with you.
We totally Cronenberg this planet.
Yeah.
A bit of shark praying mantis and a bit of dinosaur, and then everything just turns to shit. What other bits as well? Yeah, big fucking eyes, horrible looking pustules, a lot of like creepy body horror that just made my how would Coach Steve say it from Big Mouth? That made my peanut jump back up inside my body.
It's the bit where he's talking to that guy. I can't remember why he's talking to him, and he reveals that sort of huge tumor he's got on his neck. That's like the first hint, and you're like, that was a bit of a surprise. And then at the end, I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor. But it's the end, because I mentioned before with camera angles, especially with Cronenberg, he's very good with the camera and what he shows you and what he leaves out of frame. So the close-ups on her Betty Davis crazy eyes, all of a sudden she pans back, look at me, with her arms out, because it starts to pan out and you're like, oh god, are you going to see some boobies? And it pans out further and there's just this horrible sack of whatever it is.
I'll get back to the synopsis that we tried to provide. You just say, amidst a messy divorce, lady seeks professional help and skin condition gets out of hand. This episode of The Bros brought you. I know that's all she needed to do is put the lotion on the skin.
Needed Michael Jackson as Buffalo Bill.
I know.
Puts the lotion. Jitterbee Dippo. Self-referential. I'm sorry.
I know. But yeah, that was basically skin condition, eczema / impetigo gets out of hand.
Maybe an abortion or two. I don't know.
Fuck.
Fucking hell.
I should, because there's a YouTube channel. Was it Dr. Pimple Popper? Imagine that would just take a fucking. I know.
Dr. Kitty Killer. So
I know. Just get. This problem could have been solved with some leeches.
What makes me wonder as well, the main character and her had to hook up at some point. So at what point did she go kind of crazy? So like, was it always the way? He just like looked away from the weird sort of growth on it.
It's like, I imagine it was the first time he's ever been intimate with a woman. I think, when you're cupping her 7th breast.
And his friends around the bar are like, what are you talking about? Oh, that's not normal. Oh.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that used to do it for him. Like what used to be sexy is now kind of killing everyone.
No. And you know what? It's what is, that could be somebody's bag, baby. But yeah, that could be it. And going, I like batting around her
sack.
her brood sacks. Oh, brilliant.
God.
But yeah, so it is. Oh yeah, when
And
you're
she rips the bastard open at the end as well. Like it's not.
Apparently where she's licking the baby clean like some sort of freshly born lamb.
Yeah.
Both you and I being vegetarian, that's it. Go, you know what? Definitely, you know what? I'm not gonna eat meat, especially if this lady's licking this baby clean.
I know. That's a key aspect I picked up on. If you've got any more,
the visual keys and stuff like that, it's very off-putting. It's done very, very well.
Yeah.
The practical effects for its time, 1979, are phenomenal. And clearly use a mixture of. I think that they use smaller actors, not children, but smaller actors in order to portray the part, and they've done so well. And they're hidden. It's quite well because there's like a scene where you see these two kids going into the classroom, and you don't realise until later on that they're actually the brood, these manifestations of. And that was the thing I was going to mention about the site, was that these horrible brood, or these horrible, I don't want to use the children, monsters, are a manifestation of her mental health. Yeah.
I'm wondering as well, because it's not explained, which is good because it doesn't need to be explicit.
No,
I'm wondering
it
if
doesn't.
them have little extra aspects. So was one of them complete rage? Was one of them just paranoia? One of them could even be. They all seem to have their own purpose. Most of the purpose was to just get rid of the folk that were in the getting in her way of their children. And of course, poor Reed gets it in the neck.
He does.
Yeah.
I would have been imagine him clearly hungover having to fight a load of children.
He was in his element. He's like, if I'm in pain, we'll fucking go.
I'm gonna absolutely chin a bunch of kids.
I don't think he was supposed to die in that film. I think he got drunk, and the actors they just filmed the actors trying to talk him down.
Keep it rolling. He just got out of hand.
Keep rolling.
Instead of more water, it'll be more children.
More gin.
It's more gin and children. Send the children.
I said no ice, you fuck. Water down my alcohol, will you?
But just Ollie Reed fighting a bunch of kids.
Good times.
So we've kind of covered sight. We'll take quite a bit. We've covered it. Sound. So what about sound? Obviously, you mentioned strings beforehand.
Yeah.
What do you think about the use of strings? Do you think sort of dates it or makes it classic?
I think it keeps it timeless. It is, especially when it comes to mental health. If you watch any movie that has mental health in it, you watch Joker, you watch Psycho, very famously uses strings. Strings, oddly, are synonymous. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because I don't know. I really don't know why. The use of sharp strings, especially, is like the breaking or the shattering of the glass, as it were. But they actually use a lot of calm strings, I've noticed. And there's not much in terms of soundtrack. It's only every so often you see some strings. Yeah.
It's always used to punctuate in a lot of movies. Some of them are done better than others, but it's used to punctuate what's going on at that particular time. But it's very muted as far as the soundtrack's concerned, which means that you're drawn in and you have to kind of listen to the dialogue. There's not much music going on in the background until maybe later on, but it just forces you to pay attention. I think the colour scheme as well. You're not distracted by the shiny. Look at them shine. But you're just watching. Look at them shine. Mr. Susan. But you're basically forced to pay attention as to what's going on in that particular scene. So you're like, whoa, what's going on? Cycloplasmics.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting as well, because one of the main notes I noticed was that in terms of diegetic sound, most of the film is just a conversation between different people. A lot of close-ups or mid-shots, I want to say, sorry, so waist up, people sat down having conversations. Now that would normally just be, right, that's a film, that's what happens, people need to talk. In films, it's show don't tell. In this movie, a lot of it's tell. But in a way, that is also confusing because a lot of the dialogue is oddly... Like, you start there thinking, what the fuck does he mean by that for most of the film? Especially Ollie Reed's character talking to her, and that's the point. But because of his... Because technically the main character is the father in it. The plot of the movie all centres around Oliver Reed's character, who I forget the name of. So it's shot in that style rather than the main character's style. He just features in Ollie Reed's world. So the conversation is him giving therapy, but everybody's doing that. So that's what it is. It's sort of mirroring the theme in the way it delivers the action as well. Now there are action scenes in it, people do get killed, but a lot of it's just conversation. And a lot of people, if you notice, every one of them spills their guts a little bit. You've got the grandmother talks about her issues, the granddad talks about his issues, the teacher talks about her issues. So they're all... The only one who doesn't really is the dad, because you're seeing his issues unfold as it happens. And it's a bit like therapy.
That way. It is. It is. It's watching sort of him sort of go through shit, basically.
Yeah, and a lot of the dialogue's done on a couch as well. Various couches. So.
But that's I never thought about that. That's really, really good. But yeah, it's really quite sort of clever. There's bits and pieces I picked up on as far as like outside of like the senses, etc. Is like that poor teacher.
I know.
Come round, have a chat. You know, you're clearly gonna try and have at each other's genitals. And he got. I'm just gonna go see my ex-wife or try and find out what's it. No. My mother-in-law's been stoved to death with a hammer.
You don't mind looking after my daughter? Thanks.
Thanks. All right, see you later. He's just got himself a free babysitter. She's just after looking after your kid for 8 hours. Oh yeah, do you want to come round to my house, have one glass of wine? I'll not fucking feed you, but you'll look after my kid for what seems like what clearly would have been quite a few hours.
Oh yeah. And she's still there. I would have been away.
I know. All right, I'm gonna go see about somebody getting murdered. No, it goes to go and see the grandfather, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go see my grandfather, who's clearly a functioning or non-functioning alcoholic.
Who's had his head caved in.
He's had his head stoved in after he's got pissed and fallen asleep. And no, I thought as well, visually it was weird. Did you not think it was quite off-putting seeing, instead of a chalk line where the dead body was, they taped it out, made it look like a Playmobil or a
square
Lego
dude
character?
And he sort of like solemnly strokes the arm of it as well. Alright, you alright? One of the weird things when you're on about the teacher as well, he actually says, oh, here's a book, you can have that if you want, or whatever it is. And as he's about to leave, he doesn't say help yourself to anything. He goes, help yourself to some coffee. Everything off soft limits, you fucking bastard. All you can have for these few hours is a coffy.
He's one of those people that, like, whenever the kids go away, whenever they go away and the kids are in the house, they sit marking all the liquor bottles. Just, I'm not just being fucking drunk, and I go, if I come back and my fucking Tia Marie has been drunk, I'm gonna fucking kick you all over.
Did you eat some of my chicken, you bastard? You were only here 6 hours.
Oh, she's been there for fucking hours, man, honestly. So not only is he driven, he said, I'll be back in 45 minutes. Right, well, there's 45 minutes. He gets there, he's dead. The police have then had to come out. They've had to cordon off the scene. They've had to do a crime scene investigation. They've also had to take the body off. The guy's had to do a post-mortem. He's also to realise it's got a hair lip, it's got a beak, it's got a sack that keeps it alive, and then whenever it runs out of fuel in the tank, it dies. It could be she's fucking starving.
With a cup of coffee in her hand.
kids fucking eating all the food in the kitchen, and she's sitting going, I said he could have coffee, but I couldn't have anything else. She's just fucking wired, twitching.
What does she get for her trouble? She gets a phone call, an obscene phone call off.
And gets fucking straight up murdered in a classroom while a bunch of kids are going, they're just playing. Just fucking have that. Fucking have it.
Have at you.
Have at you. Big tall lady. And it was at that point I realised the teacher was 6 foot tall.
Not even about true fitting.
They fucking beat her to death about 350 times. Lots of kids are watching. They got the kid comes running out. What is it, little child?
That was a good scene as well.
To death, yeah.
Because that actually shows the main kid in it is definitely muted and a little bit traumatized because she doesn't seem to react to it at all. She's just happy to walk along with them.
Because she gets taken off into the room so she doesn't witness the murder, and then they go and kill the teacher, and then off they fuck.
They just walk along with her. But it's also hinted, I am going to say a spoiler here, but it's also hinted at the very end that she's got something wrong with her as well, with the little blotches she's got on her arm. So maybe the mother's had a lasting effect on her. It might be hereditary. I don't know. But that's the end of that spoiler.
Yeah. But the poor teacher just wanted to help, and then she gets fucking done in. Yeah. She gets a parent teachers association meeting, which they call what do they call an open house?
What do they?
Sounds like a fucking swingers party. Oh, there's pampas grass, keys in a bowl. You didn't come to the last open house. Going, I'm hoping you were gonna pick up the keys to my fucking.
Come to the open house and talk about your kids. No.
Tell about how traumatized they are. Tell us about your ex-wife. He tells us to fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh, just picked up the phone. Oh yeah. I'll fucking kill you.
Not you again, Karen. Stop it.
I know. Yeah. But she doesn't do the killing. She just gets the kids to do the killing. Sorry, in quotation marks, the kids to do the killing.
The brood.
So she doesn't. She's technically not a murderer. The kids are. It's the perfect crime. It's a manifestation of my mental health. Goes out and kills a bunch of people, but I haven't physically laid a hand on her. The thing is,
kids are out of control.
My kids
now out.
Marty, it's about your kids. But go ahead.
Oh, the very last piece that I had on sound was there's a lot of swearing in it for a '79 movie, and it's very. And swearing doesn't. It's not. It's always in horror, especially. It's just cool to swear. That's why people fucking do it. But the way it's done is very sort of not therapeutic. But when you hear a therapist swear, he's doing it for a purpose.
Yes.
So the swearing in it is very purposeful for some reason. So he's like, "You're a fucking disgrace, Daddy, no." Like, or however it is. No, it's usually Ollie Reed who swears. To be honest. Daddy, no.
No, I went more about Mickey. I said it. I'll tell the Chinese.
But that was like the last thing, that the dialogue in it. A lot of it's very psychologically based, but very striking as well. So to swear, I mean, you kind of swear in utterances to make people fucking listen to you. You sort of do, though. Your ears perk up a little bit. You think, if something's big, it's big. If something's fucking big, it's huge.
Plus, as well, if they're swearing in Canada, you're going to pay attention.
That's true. There must be.
But yeah, it must be. Oh yeah. My mom and dad are going to be so bad.
Oh, it's so bad. I feel a woozy here.
Feel cow. But yeah, it's really quite cool. And sort of not to put any spoilers, but I think at some point Wayne Brady's going to have to, and his words, not mine, I'm quoting from a TV show, I think Wayne Brady's going to have to choke a bitch.
Exactly. But if you had any other bits on sound,
it's very sort of visually, it's brilliant. Sound wise, you've got to pay attention, and it doesn't have any kind of distractions. It's really well done. Yeah,
this is probably the first movie we've watched where sight and sound don't go in tandem. They play well together, but normally we'll say to them, they play well together. You see the sound matches the visuals. Sound doesn't actually match the visuals at all.
No.
Obviously the dialogue matches what they're saying. They're not badly dubbed or anything. What I mean is, like, they do the same thing, though, that it's to get you to pay attention and watch. But I think it's on purpose, almost opposite, to unnerve you. So as you're watching it's also affecting your, not mental health, but your mood, especially, which actually ties in beautifully with feel. So I'll let you. I suppose.
Feel, as far as I imagine, it's very itchy. That's the kind of feel I get from it. That's the skin problems, as well as the lot of like tweed, a lot of wool jumpers. And imagine back then, I remember having, like, my mum, if she ever listens to this, she had a Batman jumper commissioned for me. When I say commissioned, she had a lovely next door neighbour. She just gave her a load of black and yellow wool, and she made this black Batman jumper, and it was fucking brilliant. It was the itchiest jumper. Like, no matter how many times it got washed, like, if you're wearing it and you had a t-shirt underneath it, It would always be the little bit that just catches the little bits.
Oh no!
Fuck it. Yeah. Just imagine everything's just itchy as fuck because of the cold weather. You're gonna have a lot of dry skin. I just made itchy. There's loads of aspects of it just made me feel physically itchy.
It's turtleneck of evil.
Yeah. Oh, it is. He's just fucking. The reason why I can't wear turtlenecks, it's what I'd imagine being strangled by a small child, but like a really weak small child. Maybe one that
a small child with polio.
Basically, like a child that hasn't been given its juice box and hasn't had a nap. It's just gently choking you. That's why I couldn't wear a turtleneck. Yeah. And that's what it is. It just made me feel really itchy. There's not a lot of drinking involved in it apart from the grandfather in it. You can imagine a lot of people, but he's sitting nursing like a large one.
Yeah, actually.
Granny's a drinker, grandfather's a drinker. They're separated. He goes to stay in the old house after she's been mortared, and then he's got to disappear off into the fucking wilderness in order to find him.
Grandma could really handle her liquor more than Granddad, I noticed, because you only ever see him drink one thing. He's clearly had more beforehand. Mm-hmm. But if you notice, every scene with the grandmother, I'll freshen up our drinks. She's not even finished the whiskey, so she's going to be like, fucking here we go.
Fucking chain drinking.
Yeah.
She's off and she's like, your mother. Which your ma's foolish. I never hurt her. She punched herself. I didn't chuck her down the stairs. She's full of, you make me wanna rat. Don't you make me be sick into my own scorn. But yeah, that's the sort of fun that they have with it. Well, not obviously the drinking's fun. It is for some, not for others. But yeah, but there's not a lot of like normally though sort of this era there would have been a lot of like smoking involved, and there's not. So nobody sort of films from like 60s and 70s, and even a lot of 80s movies see a lot of people like sparking up tabs and everything else, and you can almost smell the cigarette smoke.
Do you think that's on purpose as well then? Because a lot of people smoke and drink to calm or
and that's not used. Yeah, you would always see somebody like shaking, and then like you see them like lighting up a cigarette, and it kind of calms them down. It's that whole breathing, the deep breathing.
The lack thereof, they're all very uncomfortable, very tense and on edge. Maybe.
As far as anything else, just a lot of like sort of tweed, that sort of like almost itchy texture that comes with it. It's cold and itchy, and then the skin problems. But anything else as far as how it kind of feels or what it looks like, there's a lot of layers involved.
There is.
You've got to be bundled up. You got to make sure you put on your cagoule before you go inside. Cagoule. What about yourself? What about feel, texture, touch?
Yeah, because they kind of always run together, to be honest. With feel, the only thing I really had was a lot of intrigue. You put on edge through the sight and the sound, and the opposite feeling that they give. The body horror in it doesn't look painful, oddly. It looks visceral, right? But she's perfectly happy to just rip open a sack and pull out a baby.
Without context, anybody that's not seen this movie, this lady rips open her own sack and as if I'd say what's it called, Mr. Ben?
Oh yeah.
And as if by magic, Mr. Ben produces a baby from a pustule sack hanging from her inner thigh.
For years that's how I thought babies were born. So, and then this movie comes out and confuses me again at the age of 30 odd.
And you know what? There's no storks involved, no Cabbage Patch. Like what the fuck? You know what?
We've been lied to, people. Start the revolution. But in terms of like taste, maybe just like kind of only musky. The places are very clean and it's Canada, so it's very sort of crisp and sort of things. But for some reason, you get a very foul sort of taste in your mouth watching a lot of the
from licking an amniotic fluid from a baby.
Yeah, normally I'd be into that.
From a pustule baby.
But again, with smell, same sort of thing. You kind of get throughout most of it. It's not even present, and then all of a sudden you get this sort of foul, musky. You imagine it doesn't smell very good to be around this girl, or be around those pod people. Like I imagine the pod people smell a bit like popcorn. I don't know why.
Pat.
Maybe when they're born, they just sort of appear.
I don't know. It's like a really bad. It's really bad school dinner.
Yeah,
That's
like
sort of-
cold gravy and mashed potato.
Somebody making soup.
Oh.
Oh, imagine
Yeah,
you
the
going,
mother.
oh, where is she? Oh, I can smell her from here. But yeah, it's one of those things where like clearly the ex-wife of the mother's clearly been through some traumatic
Yeah.
shit. And the bit that gets me is, was it a coping mechanism, or is it just something that she's been imbued with, or what? You know, has she manifested his powers as a means of dealing with all the shit that they've been through with it, with the mother being horrible and the daddy not doing anything. So obviously there's two quite bad separations, which has then obviously been a huge impact on her.
Yeah.
And these kids being the physical manifestation of her mental health. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
You'd never see a positive version of the good brood when you go on. You know, the lady's like sunshine, lollipops, and you go on, and
Making hospitals for people and stuff.
I know this woman
Popping
just
out babies.
Yeah, babe, fucking boast me bag, and these babies jumping out like little happy leprechauns, but they've got smiles with like lovely toothed grins, just gonna build the hospitals, and then the baby just, you know, just goes for a lie down, and that's it. Oh, I'm gonna make
How
more
can I help
lemons.
you, mother?
Cup
How
of
can I
tea.
be of service?
Freshen your drink, Governor. But yeah, that's
I'd watch that.
never,
That would be probably
yeah.
more terrifying.
The good brood.
Good brood.
Basically, they go off and solve crimes.
Hey gang, let's solve crimes.
I've got this Swiss Army baby, so she's just got, I've just got this builder baby that just pops out. He comes out with a little hard hat.
She just wants to open a bottle, gives birth to a baby that's got like an indent in its cranium, so she can use it as a bottle opener. And then it dies.
And then it dies.
It's all good endings.
There's a small puddle in front of me. I'm not gonna step through it. I'm just gonna pop this baby out. It's gonna lay face down and dry, and I'm just gonna step on its back with these lovely 7-inch heels, piercing its
to a
spinal
porous
column,
baby that
and
can
then
absorb the spill and then die.
I'm gonna give birth to this pumice baby where it's just got rough skin on its forehead, and she's sitting filing the hard skin off her feet, and then she just tosses it in the bin.
You see, that's crueler than making babies to kill people.
I've got this baby bin.
She just had to make a bunch of babies just to get rid of the dead baby bodies, which is dark. Oh, God.
Oh, the compost bin. It's overflowing.
Great garden though.
And it's lush.
It's like
And using the correct term of the word lush, it's actually lush.
luscious leaves.
She's gonna what's it called? She's fly tipping these. She's got this brood pile. We could go
of a rating system for something like this because I don't want to go dead babies.
So just for anybody who is listening and wishes to make not any complaints but sort of just try and rein us in a little bit, we do have an Instagram page. Please drop us a message on @podcast in the backseat. What is that, Matthew?
At podcast in the backseat.
What we're saying is, this is entirely a work of fiction. This is not real.
Yeah.
This is based as catharsis
Any
for David.
similarities?
I know, real or true. This is not happening. This is not a lady producing pustule babies in order to suit
Make
her
slaves.
needs. Imagine you get outsourced a call center.
What, every call they just die at the end of it?
It's
Thank
like
you
an
very
episode
much.
of like Family Guy. We've got to get these wallets to China by sundown. This one's getting tired. We need another baby. We go. It's another one. You're gonna have to speed up. We're gonna have to outsource this licking. You just say like she pops one, somebody licks the baby clean, puts a little vest on it, goes to the sewing machine, off it makes, and then
Gets to the point she becomes a queen alien like creature. Just lying there, this huge pod. Sigourney Weaver comes in giving a hassle. Get away from her, you bitch.
we can what was it called? We can for the price of a cup of coffee a day, you can have any Boba job.
God. I just want a compliment. Gives birth to a baby. You look great.
Mr. Meeseeks, look at me.
Look at me.
But yeah, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, a rating system out of 10 pustule babies. But 10 out of 10 Borst babies.
Borst baby. I'd probably give it a 7, to be honest with you. It's fine. It's not a film I'll probably ever watch again, not because it's bad, just because I don't feel like I need to. Like, once you've seen it, you've seen it.
Yeah. I think yeah, I'd probably say 7.5, so like 75%.
Yeah.
Baby Borst baby. Yeah.
Borst babies.
Borst babies.
Just gives birth to the legs of one to give that 0.5 of a Borst baby.
2.4 children.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. It's okay, it's the top half. It's the top half.
Kill me.
Polly shouldn't be.
But
anyway,
it's a really good film, and I think it does what it sets out to do. The visuals, the audio being the highlight, definitely.
Yes.
Because they play very well to put you almost in the movie, but without being anywhere near it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I quite like, because it leaves you very uncomfortable, and it affects you on a mental level. Not that it'll affect your brain chemistry or your mental health status or anything like that. Just it does touch your emotions. And
but
anybody
physically,
in that situation,
but physically with a hammer.
With just it touches you right in the fias with the
blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
Blunt force trauma.
And I imagine anybody who's ever gone through some sort of messy divorce, or especially
or breakup,
or just trying to keep custody of their own children, especially in that time. I think one of the lines in the movie is that for him it's going to be difficult because mothers tend to always get the. It's not so much the case now. It is. Courts do favourably look at the mother, which I won't go into. That's very political. But if you've ever gone through that, I imagine you can really.
Not that he
feel for
backpedals, he sidesteps that. But because obviously that's We'll not get into the custody system.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this scabby woman. But yeah. But imagine the conversation that takes place, and you're going. I'm thinking about leaving Nuala. You know what, mate? I think these two should stay together. Why? I've seen what can happen. Hold on, mate. You're not thinking about leaving her. If you do, say I had nothing to do with that. I said you should stay for her. It's like was it where Mo turns up to try and steal Marge after Homer and Marge split up? Homer, she said you were dead. She's lying. She's lying. hey, Midge. This bird's gonna fly.
Did he call her Midge? I never understood that.
I never understood that. But yeah, it's the whole idea. No, mate. I stay with her. You know what keeps everything together. 2-parent families. Why don't you just let this work? Stay with her. Yeah. She's a fucking nightmare. But wait, you should stay together. Why? Yeah, I've seen that skin problem. That E45 is not going to clear that up. That Vaseline, whatever else, is not going to help your problems. So I reckon you should stay with her.
One of the winked at us the other day. You might want to stay with her.
Fuck.
Good. She's got a head grown out of her chest. Stop it.
Is it Quaid?
Start the reactor.
Open your mind. You know what? Maybe this is linked with Total Recall.
That's what it is.
Oh, is it? It's Quaid. What's his name? It's not Quaylen. That's from Cliffhanger. It's Coato.
Yeah, that's it.
Coato is linked with Nuala Fitzgerald, Juliana Kelly, and Frank Carveth. That's fucking mental. Open your mind. But it's fucking brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and it's made me laugh after the fact. Once I was watching it, I wasn't laughing, and it's a very enjoyable film. I wouldn't say that it's fun.
Yeah,
the ideas are fun, but in itself, it's not maybe with a couple of drinks, I'd maybe be laughing at it.
Probably, yeah.
Oliver Reed calling you daddy. And son,
I'd be more inclined to
bastard, and you're.
if I ever watched it again, I would probably be laughing. The first time I actually wasn't.
But yeah,
it's actually nice to see Ollie Reed as not a villain, as you've said. That's interesting. To be honest, I thought he was going to be,
because he's almost, to a certain extent, he's perpetuating the issue, even though he knows it's causing all these proper problems for these people.
Yeah.
And then you said he's got that story of redemption where he tries to sort of distract the village of the damned, and I'll get the kid out.
I don't understand why he decided to go all the way to the back of the room to get the daughter and then slowly walk out, and as they're all getting up to then pull out the gun. I'd have probably had them all killed before I even entered the room. I'd have gone in with a fucking army.
Fucking bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, just
you shoot the first 6 brood, and then you have to pistol whip the rest of them to death. You've got to do it like that proper Nicolas Cage scene in 8mm. Tell me he hurt you. Tell me he hurt you. Fucking, as you're beating Machine to death with the butt of a pistol.
And then you realise that Ollie Reed's just killed the daughter he was trying to save with the first shot. Has to pull her hair off scalp and put the wig on one of the the creepy. I saved her for you.
Shut up! Frank should have beat beforehand. Should have beat beforehand.
You're full of shit, man. A monster.
should have beat beforehand, but yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we were saying, do you know when he dies, we're saying Oliver Reed visions, so there was actually only one of them, but he could see like loads. He was getting double vision with all.
I'm seeing 4 I'm seeing 4 crusties.
I'm seeing double. I made that joke yesterday. It was inappropriate. I can't remember what it was. Somebody said, "Oh, there's 2 Michaels," and I went, "I'm seeing double 4 Michaels," and nobody said anything. I was like,
"I'm seeing 4 crusties." But
yeah, worth a watch.
Oh, definitely. And anybody who's a fan of Cronenberg, you won't be disappointed. It's really, I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I knew so little about it. So please do watch it. Like I said, it is available on Amazon Prime. But it's definitely worth your time to invest in the 92 minutes, I believe it lasts.
Yeah.
One last sort of factoid. Apparently, Ollie Reed got into a bit of trouble with the local with the local constabulary, because apparently he made some bet about how far he could walk in the nude in the snow.
I want to grow up to be him. He's my spirit animal.
Ollie Reed fighting a bear, and the bear just goes, "Whoa, fucking, you know what? Whoa, ructions."
He gets, instead of a bear hug, it's an Ollie hug. Breaks you in 7 places. Like,
no.
God.
But yeah, the bear's just going, "No, bro. You know what? I'm just not gonna fucking. Nah.
You need help, man. Ollie, you need help."
He's gonna fight a bear. Who is Ollie Reed? Nah, I'm out.
And the bear's armed with a crocodile as well, and he's still nah.
And a small blade. But shall we wrap it there? I think I've really enjoyed talking about this movie. Please let us know what your thoughts are about the Boss Baby Brigade, the David Cronenberg's Brood Baby Boss Baby Brood Brigade Bash Bonanza. I'm gonna leave it that.
And if you can remember all of that, write to our Instagram. It's a podcast in the backseat.
With your host.
I say, sir.
I say, boss. Chicken hawk.
Podcast in the backseat.
Podcast in the backseat with your host Wayne Alexander
and Matthew Rudden.
Enjoy your
next time for we're doing the sequels and movie franchises that don't quite fit the.
Yeah, they take a left turn, a right turn,
fit the mold,
down the darkened path in behind the haunted amusement park. Enjoy your stomach pounder and coke.
Good night.